Don't 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 rules. Hello. All right. Let's have this conversation. Actually, we're gonna watch a brief conversation and comment on that conversation. Uh I'm surprised actually by this. I'm really surprised by it. Actually, I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of annoyed. Remember when Paul casted out the demon of the girl in Acts 16? Said Paul was greatly annoyed, and I'm greatly annoyed like Paul right now. All right, first things first. Welcome to CNN. I'm Kirk Kennedy. Let's go in. All right, Colin Kaepernick wrote a letter on opening day of the NFL to the New York Jets team and essentially said is asking for them to pick him up. Now, I don't know if he wrote the letter before the game or after the game, but if you are a football fan, you know that Aaron Rodgers had a season-ending injury first game. I mean, they picked up Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers and were hopeful. I wasn't for them, but who cares what I think? I'm still wearing green though. But I wasn't hopeful. But they picked him up and he got injured the first game, and they were looking for a quarterback. Colin Kaepernick writes a letter to the New York Jets asking to be picked up. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but I thought Stephen A. Smith, in many ways, captured some of my thoughts. I'm just like Colin Kaepernick. All right, we're gonna watch this. Let's check this out. Let's watch this video and just see what's going on, and we'll comment on this. All right, let's go here.
Former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick wrote a letter to Jets general manager Joe Douglas that was dated September 21st, asking that the team consider signing him to the practice squad. According to rapper J. Cole, the letter was shared on Cole's Instagram account on Tuesday. In part, it read, "Worst case scenario, you see what I have to offer and you're not impressed. Best case scenario, you realize you have a real weapon at your disposal in the event you ever need to use it."
All right, so I stand corrected. He sent it on September 21st. So this was a couple days ago. As they've been scrambling to find a new QB. And J. Cole put the letter on his Instagram page. Obviously, J. Cole's popular rapper. I like J. Cole, think he's a good rapper. He put it on his page appealing for this. This is recent. This was a couple days ago. All right. So Colin Kaepernick is asking, and here's what he says. Worst case scenario, you see what I have to offer and you're not impressed. Best case scenario, you realize you have a real weapon at your disposal in the event you ever need it. All right, let's keep going.
Stephen A., what's your reaction?
Sadness.
Yes.
Because it ain't going to happen.
Yes.
See, we have to stop all of this noise and we have to address it with the realness that it deserves.
Okay, Stephen A.
Colin Kaepernick, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see him back in the National Football League. I believe he deserves an opportunity to be back in the National Football League.
Okay, real quick. Hold up. Flag on the play. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. But no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't deserve to be given another chance. And before all of you who think he was great, let's rewind the tape. All right. So Colin Kaepernick became the starting quarterback, I think around 2016 for the San Francisco 49ers. Alex Smith got hurt that year. Now 49ers were balling that year. They were like maybe 5-6-0, 7-0, or maybe like lost one game, but they were balling that year. Alex Smith gets an injury, supposed to be out for a few weeks, and Colin Kaepernick comes in. I think he was a rookie, hadn't had played that much. And Colin Kaepernick comes in, and he does lead the team to the Super Bowl, but that team was already clicking. Alex Smith ended up getting traded to my team, the Washington Redskins, Commanders. He gets traded to my team, and then in the rest of history, and Colin Kaepernick becomes the NFL quarterback, all right, of the 49ers. Let's be clear that when he started to kneel, I think it was 2017, somewhere around there, when he started to kneel for police brutality at the games, Colin Kaepernick was a then backup QB. He wasn't starting. He lost his starting position because he just wasn't clicking. Like that team was clicking the year before, but Alex Smith had them running. But now when Colin Kaepernick comes, yeah, they run. But here's what happens in the NFL. This is what people don't realize. When they don't know who you are, like they had no tape on Colin Kaepernick. They had never seen him play. The NFL has to figure you out. But once you play a few games and they figure out your weaknesses and your strengths, man, them defensive coordinators, they come after you, bro. Them defensive linemen be sitting down every Sunday, every time, right before they play you, watching what you do and planning how they going to attack you. And the following season, Kaepernick got figured out. He wasn't good. He was benched. So let's not act like he was that vicious. So Stephen A., you're smarter than me when it comes to football. But no, he was wrong. I don't think Kaepernick was tough. People are giving this man credit that's not really due. But I could be wrong. Let's keep going.
I believe that he was blackballed. I believe he was blackballed unfairly.
No.
I think it's a damn disgrace and a crime that he has been kept out of the National Football League this long.
Okay, so far, I think Stephen A. Smith is playing the violin. No, he hasn't, man. That's not. They don't owe him a chance to come back. This dude. Well, I'm gonna let it go.
But where I've taken heat, and I will always take heat for this, because I will never, ever, ever change my position on this, is that in the end, not 2016 to 2019, but in the end, as of November 2019, when he had that tryout that the NFL organized, and he elected not to show up, and instead had that at a high school, an hour and 20 minutes away, Swagoo, Mad Dog Russo, Molly, I said on First Take the next morning, it is over.
Yes, okay. Now let's talk, Stephen A. Now we talking. Look, this dude was begging after all the drama that he caused, right? He was begging to get back in the NFL. They put together, NFL never does like a organize. They organized a place at Atlanta Stadium, NFL Stadium, for him to audition for teams. Somebody probably would have picked him up. But this Bama decided, nah, I'm doing it my way, and went to a high school an hour and 20 minutes away. I remember hearing that story, and I had this thought, and who am I? I just wear the color green. I look like I play, I'm a defensive lineman, Ohio State Buckeye. Listen, I remember thinking, oh, bro, this dude is crazy right now. If I was a GM or a coach, I would be like, man, who does this dude think he is? He didn't win the Super Bowl. He wasn't no vicious quarterback that I'm going to drive an additional hour and 20 minutes just to watch him throw instead of coming here where the NFL placed him. I was like, this dude is feeling himself too much. He was not that good of a quarterback. How soon we forget. So I'm with Stephen A. When I saw that, I was like, oh, it's curtains. It's curtains. Like you decorating the house. It's curtains.
He's done.
He's done.
And I stand by that. And to this day, I have not been proven wrong. Now, Molly, y'all can put up the timeline of the events that involved Colin Kaepernick from the time of 2016 to now. Sits during the national anthem to protest racial inequality, which we all applaud him for. Begins kneeling to the protest, which was perfectly within his right. Kneeling during the national anthem. He is an American citizen. He exercised his constitutional rights. Not to mention the fact that he was in violation of no NFL bylaws whatsoever. He should have never been punished for it at all. Unsigned, he files grievance against the National Football League. Right. He's alleging collusion. They settled 2 years later, nearly 2 years later, in February of 2019. All of that totally in Colin Kaepernick's favor. Here's where things went south for good, as far as I'm concerned. November 12th, 2019, NFL arranges the workout for him at the Falcons facility.
Right.
He moves it to a high school and lets them know literally about a couple of hours earlier. From that moment forward, it was over. Now let me break this down to y'all.
Yeah.
Swagoo, Mad Dog Russo.
Right now, Stephen A's on point. You can't go to tell the NFL you want to be back and then make them drive an hour and 20 minutes away. And I don't remember, he said something arrogant like, I forgot, it was something like, I'm gonna do it my way, or I'm gonna make them. It was something like they're gonna have to earn it. But you want to get back in the NFL. He should have went to the Atlanta Stadium and just threw the ball. Like, you wasn't that good. I don't care if you half black with an afro and that you kneeled for racial equality. We're talking about football, not kneeling. He wasn't that good. He was okay, but he was riding the bench when he started kneeling. I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was right. I thought that whole thing was a stunt because he was mad that somebody took his starting place. He was not starting when he started kneeling before games. But I digress. Let's hear what these are the professionals.
In November of 2019, when Colin Kaepernick refused to show up, now mind you, let's keep this in mind. Most people don't sue their former employer and then turn around and try to go back to work. That doesn't happen. But Roger Goodell, NFL league offers, in concert with Jay-Z and others, essentially assembled this, organized it because the individual teams were scared that if they didn't pick him, they would get accused of racism or whatever it was that they were fearful of. Those were the things that I heard. So they didn't want to take on the individual responsibility as a team, which was why the league, for the first time in league history, organized the workout. All right. Tried to get him to sign a waiver. He said it's not the typical waiver a player signs. They said, of course it isn't, because usually a team does that. But this is the first time in league history the league is organizing it. And we have to protect ourselves from you because you just sued us, okay?
Right.
But having said all of that,
we
go to 2019.
Now you want to...
Here's what I have a list for you, Swagoo. These are backup quarterbacks that played at one point or another the same season that Colin Kaepernick was trying to come back in November 2019 when he didn't show up for the workout. Brandon Allen, 3 starts for Denver. Jeff Driscoll, 3 starts for Detroit. Matt Moore, 2 starts for Kansas City. Chase Daniels, 1 start for Chicago. Brian Hoyer, 1 start for Indianapolis. Sean Mannion, 1 start for Minnesota. Colt McCoy, 1 start for Washington. A.J. McCarron, 1 start for Houston. Colin Kaepernick, a guy that took the team to the Super Bowl in the San Francisco 49ers. You try to tell me Colin Kaepernick couldn't play? Of course he could play. Of course he could have been on a roster. All he had to do was show up. And I personally was told at that time, if the brother showed up to the workout, because of public pressure being brought down upon the league and the fact that we were all watching, he would have had to throw the football in the stands to not have a job in 2 weeks. That was a quote that I received, Doggy. He would have had to throw it into the stands to not receive a job. But he didn't show up. And now we fast forward to 2023. January 1st will mark 7 years that Colin Kaepernick hasn't been
100%.
And in the year 2023, on opening day, just a few weeks ago, the NFL started 14 black quarterbacks. 7 of the top 11 paid quarterbacks in the National Football League are black.
So Stephen A is on point right now. This is the bottom line. This is why I personally get tired of the Colin Kaepernick. Listen, it wasn't like he said it. You don't sue. Who sues their former employer and then says, I want my job back? Here's the reality. Colin Kaepernick stood for something, or he kneeled for something. He brought attention to an issue. Whether you like it or not, he brought attention to an issue. But then I think, this is what I honestly think, and this is the same thing that happened with Black Lives Matter. This is why I couldn't stand Black Lives Matter. I couldn't stand those women, because you bring an issue up, you stand up for something that people can relatively say, okay, I see what, but then you become bigger than the issue. You become more important than the actual issue. You become more important than all the people. I mean, Colin Kaepernick, man, you can't tell the NFL after suing them, I want to come back. And then when they say, all right, we're going to let you try out in the stadium, and you weren't, and again, I'm sorry, he wasn't that vicious. Stephen A makes a point that he may have been better than some of those dudes, but let's be clear, though. He hadn't thrown a football in years that same year. He hadn't thrown a football, so you would hope that he was good. Look, in the NFL, these are professionals, bro. These dudes big like me, but be running 4.240s. Like your mechanics ain't right. There's a lot going into it. You might have came back and not even had a good successful run, but it was the arrogance. It was him thinking that he's bigger than the movement that he was trying to bring attention to. It was the arrogance. And then so you can't blame anybody. Even me, I was like, man, if I was a GM, it's no way I would sign that dude. Because you come like it's like you doing us a favor. That's how he carried himself. I'm not even gonna go there. They're gonna have to come here to see me. And when nobody really came, then he was like, man, bro, you weren't that good. You weren't that good. And I just think that's why I get tired of it. Like, he was decent, but let's be clear. Alex Smith had them on and popping. They were clicking. The defense was clicking that year. The offense was clicking. And then Alex Smith got hurt, was supposed to miss a couple games, but they kept winning with Kaepernick. He was a young black dude that could scramble a little bit. So they were like, hey, might be the wave of the future. And look what he did. And now 7 years later, this dude is still trying to come back. Come on, fam. You can't be arrogant like that. Like he thought he was bigger than the movement he was trying to represent, and it backfired.
Those owners are going to use that as an excuse to point to, ain't about racism. We don't want to hear that. It's about the attention that you brought to our brand that we believe compromises the bottom line. And no matter how wrong they may be, the public evidently sides with them because the ratings have gone where, fellas? The money has gone where, fellas? Their coffers, has it dwindled? Has it diminished? Has it shrunk?
Stephen A. on point.
No.
He's on point right now.
Just like I told y'all in November of 2019, I said when he didn't show up for that workout, it's over.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today. I hope I'm wrong. Nothing would make me happier.
Yeah, it would make me happy because I honestly didn't think he was that good of a quarterback, and I don't think the NFL owes him anything, right? I mean, you sue the NFL and then demand that they bring you back, and there's a movement, and then you get an opportunity to play this, and then you ain't tripping. You don't show up. You show up at a school and people. Stephen A. said it. They were going to give him a job because they were afraid of the racial pressure. So again, this is the problem with the left. They always think that whether it's white liberals, whether it's black anti-racist people, they always think they're bigger than what they're representing. They always think that they're more important than the actual people who experience some of the challenges that they're supposed to represent. And they just get their heads hit. When Black Lives Matter, the hashtag, I could relate to it. I've been black all my life, ironically, right? I could relate with that. There are things I experienced, and there was no other reason for them besides that. But they took that hashtag, monopolized it, manipulated people by it, formed a movement because of it, made themselves bigger than the movement, got money for it, and then got exposed. That's how it is. Colin Kaepernick, I remember he was dating some like popular DJ back then, and he was talking crazy. And I was like, bruh, this dude acts like people owe him, like they're not going to pick him up. He wasn't that vicious. And also, it's just the drama. You don't know. Nobody wants professional teams, period. Professional sports will cut people that cannot be controlled in the locker room. You have to be, if you're going to cause havoc in the locker room, they're going to let you go. So Colin Kaepernick was unpredictable because he was acting like the NFL owes him, like it's almost racist if they don't pick him up. Sure, there was collusion, but it wasn't collusion because he was black. I think it was collusion because they were afraid he'd mess up the green. The biggest color of racism is not black and white, it's green, man. It's green, fam. The biggest color is green. And that's what people care about. This is the problem with American history because everyone forgets that class was also alongside of race. Like there were a lot of people who were treated poorly, and it's more complicated than just one thing, right? So Colin Kaepernick, hey man, you did what you did. Hats off to you, but helmet is not on because they don't even know if you good. So you wrote a letter to them, and it's like now you look pathetic. Now you look pathetic, like you're essentially begging them. And J. Cole put it on his Instagram to make it popular, but the reality is, people just don't want it. And NFL's moved on. You got Jay-Z making sure the halftime show had 50 Cent, Eminem, Mary J. Blige. I mean, you know, like Stephen A. said, black quarterback. They've moved on. Colin Kaepernick is like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is still talking about the election was stolen. My dude, move on, please. Move on. Like, talk about something else. Nobody owes you an election. It's done. It's move on, Donald Trump. Please move on. Talk about what you're going to do right now. Well, the election was stolen. Nobody cares, fam. That was 4 years ago. Ain't no Marty McFly going back to the future to change that, bro. Colin Kaepernick, move on, bro. You ain't coming back to the NFL. Get you a coaching job. Hope you saved money. I don't think he earns it. I don't think he deserves it. And I agree with Stephen A. That arrogance in 2019, I remember I had the same thought, and I wasn't even watching First Take back then. What do I know? I just needed to get a video done today, and I just felt like talking about that. I'm getting tired of Colin Kaepernick. I'm getting tired of Donald Trump. I'm getting tired of Joe Biden. I'm getting tired of this world. Maranatha, Jesus, come back now. Hit the like and subscribe button. If you don't, I don't want to like and subscribe to your channel either. See you.